Hello everyone, I'm jumping straight into it. Welcome to Tier 1. I think we're already in qualifying. No, we're loading into qualifying. So as we load into qualifying, I'd like to remind you all we are affiliated with Rogue Energy. Feel free to use code PHX at checkout for 10% off of your order. Let's go to... There we go. Now we're loading in. We are at Canada again. There's nothing. There isn't much more I can say. We have, I believe, 11. No, we got 10 drivers. Every driver on the grid so far will score a point. We are trying to get one more into the lobby, but unfortunately, the game is so amazing that we are having trouble to try and get him into the lobby. So please bear with us. There will be a moment or two during the stream where you will not hear anything, because I'm jumping into calls to try and get things organised and get this driver into the race session, pardon me. But here we go, we are going to start with qualifying. We got Beb coming out of the pits first, and we got Cos out as well. And they are the only two drivers. Nope, never mind, there are no more drivers now. Maverick leaving the pits there, it's not wanting to show me, and I believe that is Webby. So we've got a few reserve drivers. You'll see some names there that are either in a team that you wouldn't recognise or aren't in their tier. We've got Nadim reserving in. He was reserving in for Ferrari in tier 2. He's now reserving into Ferrari again for tier 1. We also have Webby racing alongside the AlphaTauri team principal in reserve for the other Alpha. He is a full-time driver for Alfa Romeo, now reserving for AlphaTauri in this one race. And that is it. We've got Cos, Maverick, Rico, Beb, Flynn, Zolt, Brizin, and Gravy, who are all full-time Tier 1 drivers, all here ready to fight it out for the race win, and to fight it out to increase or cut down the lead to whoever is ahead in the standings. They are still due to be updated, so please bear with us. Soon as Tier 1 is over, we will have the race results inputted and updated. All the timing screens, all the standings and everything will be updated, and you will be able to see your driver at the top of the list. But let us see, we've got Beb crossing the line, first driver to start a hot lap. This game is awfully quiet. Please, game, do not crash. I just wish to turn up the audio settings to notch 5 as we see Beb keeping it very clean going through that first chicane. Of course, he will be setting. Welcome, Beb. Welcome, Kevin. Welcome, Formula 1. I didn't crash. It's a miracle. Beb, of course, setting a purple first sector. He's the first driver out on the track. So he will be setting the best times. And that will be the times for the drivers to beat. Nadim is not a full-time driver. He retired at the end of last season because of how bad the game was and how many issues he had. But I've managed to convince him to come back for a bit. And reserve in for Ferrari. As we see now Beb coming through the final sector. What can the McLaren driver beat? Beat set. This is the time to beat. A 10.7 is the first time on the screen. Nadim will not be the next driver to cross. Sorry, it'll be Cos the next driver to drive. I am spitting out the wrong words. Good day, Galassi? I think that's... Please tell me if I've pronounced that wrong. But Cos now with the fastest lap time, a 1:09.9. Zolt, team principal for AlphaTauri, a 1:11.3. And Maverick, team principal for McLaren, a 1:12.9. Let's have a look. We've got Nadim reserving in for Ferrari. Currently setting a purple middle sector. He also has the two AlphaTauri boys ahead of him. So Galassi. I'm terrible at names when I have to read it off quickly, but I will do my best to not get it wrong. I'm glad I got it right the first time round. Now let's see Nadim going into the final chicane. He takes not as much track off of the side there, but across the line still with a 1:09.8. I was in a call with him earlier, and he was saying that he was just merely a few tenths off of the pace from what Cos was setting in time trial, and now this is where he can show it. He was really on the cusp of getting a 109 in Tier 2, and now in Tier 1, he can show his true pace. He can show that he has the power for this track. Let's see now, we've got Gravy as well. He's currently on a lap going through the second sector. Yeah, Kevin, Nadim's insane. I don't know how he does it. He's on the controller, and then, what's his face? Cos, he's on a G29. He's on the same wheel as me, and he's doing, like, lap times 1,000 times better than me. It's insane. But let's see now, Gravy coming through the final corner. He keeps his car very steady indeed. And now, DRS wide open. ERS completely being depleted now. And down towards the final couple corners. What can the Alfa Romeo driver do? He takes as much of the track as he can on the exit, and across the line it'll be a 1:10.6. He is now in 4th place, sitting on the second row of the grid. An incredible lap for the Alfa Romeo driver, and his teammate not far behind, just little over 2 seconds behind in 8th place. Of course, now most of the drivers will be jumping into the pits. Oh, I'm sorry, Webby. I forgot about Webby, but here comes Webby to the line. A 1:11.227 just beats the AlphaTauri team principal. We've got Zoltz there in 8th place. An incredible lap still for Webby, and for 10 drivers on the grid. We've got 2 in the 109s, 4 in the 110s, 2 in the 111s, and 2 in the 112s. Hopefully, you know, maybe this could be a race where we will see the majority of a grid in the 110s or 109s. It'll be very interesting to see if that was possible. Let's have a look, though. We got Flynn currently. He's on a hot lap. He's got a teammate just ahead of him. Gravy giving him a tow, I believe. It's just outside, I think, actually. I don't think he's close enough to quite give him a tow, but certainly will be helping him. And now going through the final corner. Can Flynn improve? He was about 2.5 tenths up. Now crosses the line. And it's a big improvement. It's an 8 tenths improvement. And he's into the 111s, but unfortunately not big enough to jump a position. Still an incredible lap for the Alfa Romeo driver. I believe Maverick's now starting his hot lap, second hot lap of the session. Let's see what the McLaren man can do. Also got a couple AlphaTauris coming towards the line. Let's just have a quick look. So they're on a hot lap, neither of them. Webby's gone in the pits, and Zoltz is starting his hot lap, second hot lap of the session. This is not Cos. Thank you, this is Cos. Cos now starting a hot lap as well, second hot lap of the session. We've got a lot of drivers currently going around. Let's have a look back to Maverick. Maverick's unfortunately invalidated his lap. Beb is on the cusp of improving, just 24,000th of a second off of his previous best time. Let's see what Beb can do in this third sector. A lot of drivers have been complaining and saying that the third sector, that final chicane, is where they lose a lot of time in their laps. Beb managing to keep it within track limits there and across the line. Will it be an improvement? He sets a 1:10.4 up into third place. An incredible improvement by the McLaren driver. Really showing his McLaren team boss and teammate what he is worth, and making it a very good investment for the McLaren man. We've got Zoltz coming through towards the final chicane now. Keeping it very tidy out of the exit, taking as much space as he can on the exit. And he crosses the line with nearly a 1 second improvement. Unfortunately, is still just over a tenth away from his teammate in 7th place. Could not quite take that place, as we also see him, I think, having a bit of a spin there coming out of that corner. Cos here, I think he's just recharging his battery before he starts his hot lap. Cos currently in P2 with a 109.935. His teammate just ahead, Mr. Nadim, reserving in for Ferrari with a 109.861. No team orders, no teamwork here. This is their raw pace, and let's see what they can do. I think Bev here is now coming towards the chicane. Now he's going to finish his second hot lap of the session. Let's see what the McLaren... Oh, no, he's gone in the pits. Never mind. Rico, our world champion from last season, he's going through... he's invalidated the lap, unfortunately, going through that second sector. But he would have been on for a 1.5 tenth improvement on that lap. Very unfortunate to see that. Let's see, we got Zolt's invalidated lap, unfortunately. Maverick going through... I think Maverick... he's missed out, unfortunately, to improve that lap time. Am I reading this right? I think Cos is not deploying. I can't tell if Cos is on a hot lap or not. But here comes Nadim. He's crossed the line now. Nadim is going to start his second hot lap. I need to look at the times. Yeah, no, Nadim's starting his first hot lap, or second hot lap of the session. I'm not getting confused here, I promise you this. But let's see, can Nadim improve his time as Cos now pits? Can Nadim improve his time and improve the lead that he already has? He doesn't need to extend that lead, but he certainly will, because it'll be a massive, massive boost for his reserving career to say, I managed to increase that time. This is the first time this afternoon for drivers to get into 109. Nadim was, I think, like 61 1,000ths or 66 hundredths of a second off of getting in the 109s in Tier 2. So Nadim and Cos are the only two drivers this evening to actually hit the 109s. Rico will be diving in the pits there. Gravy is currently coming down that back straight. He is going for a hot lap. Let's see what he can do. We've also got Nadim brushing the wall, I think, coming out of that final corner and invalidating. But here comes Gravy to the line. A 1.5 tenth improvement up into 4th place. A 104.62. An incredible lap by Gravy, and puts himself up onto the second row of the grid. And a driver I've not given much spotlight to, unfortunately, but here comes Brizen, currently sitting in 6th place. He was improving his lap time. He crossed the line with a 3/10 improvement. He steals 4th place by 1/1000th of a second. Gravy demoted to 5th place by 1/1000th of a second. That is incredible driving by the two of them. And Brizen managing to gain that advantage and steal that position. Now here comes Webby. He's going through... the first sector. He's on a hot lap. He improves by 3/10 in that first sector. He's currently on the line for a 1:10.9. Can we see Webby bump up and bump Brizen down, jump onto the second row, or potentially jump onto the front row? We'll have to see now, going through the the final chicane in the second sector, approaching into the DRS zone. He sets a 142.371, a 1.5 tenths improvement, 1.7 tenths, sorry, improvement. Keeping his car very well under control coming out of the corner. Not a slither of movement from the rear end. He's kept it well under control. Now coming down that main straight. No toes from anyone else there. I think that's Nadim currently warming up for a lap. And here comes Webby into the final chicane next to the world champions. He's kissing the wall and across towards the line. What can Webby do? He improves to a 1:10.8, but unfortunately is still 3/10 off from taking the place from Rico ahead of him. As I think Nadim was going to go for another lap. He's invalidated yet again. We've got Zoltz now. He's coming down the back straight. Coming into the chain, he was improving. Let's see how much he's improved by. Can he gain at least 5/10 to take the position from his teammate? He cannot. He improves by 4/10. Still an incredible improvement to jump down into the 110s. But unfortunately, is still just a 10th away from his teammate. Let's see now. Here comes Maverick. Going into the chicane. He's going to start his hot lap. Let's see what the McLaren man can do. The first sector. I think that's Cos coming out of the pits now to start his final hot lap of the session. Maverick keeping it very well under control. Not quite pushing the limits of the track, but certainly pushing the limits for what his car can do. He does lose 2/10 in that first sector, unfortunately. Now it's coming through the second sector. There is a slow McLaren ahead. Perhaps there is team orders here for Beb, who's on an invalidated lap time when he's warming up, to give Maverick an incredible tow and improve his lap time from a 1:12.1 to, let's see, possibly a 1:10. It'll be interesting to see if there are going to be team orders there. I mean, Beb has certainly slowed down a lot there, and I think there are going to be team orders here. I think they are working together. Here comes McLaren, and McLaren giving one another a tow, and there goes Maverick down the back straight. But Maverick has invalidated his lap, and that is that lap abandoned. Now he has to go for another one. Or is that... this game's terrible. It was showing me Beb. But no, Maverick did invalidate that lap, and unfortunately has lost it there. Cos now crosses the line. He's got two McLarens ahead of him, who hopefully will not get in his way. Cos currently in P2. Can he improve by, what is that, a gap of 3 1/4 of a second? Can he improve by 7/100ths? As we finally managed to get Pustuzo in, the 11th driver on the grid has finally managed to join with 2.5 minutes left in the session. He will be able to get at least one lap in qualifying before the end of the session. Nadim out for an outlap. Same with Webby and Flynn. Cos now coming through into the second sector, the final chicane of this sector. Can we see an improvement from him? Cross the line. Now, apparently 3 seconds slower than his previous lap. Why is Mav in last? Mav has skill issue. Actually, Mav isn't in last anymore. Pastuzo's in last. Mav keeps invalidating his lap time. He's invalidated it again. And so he's diving in the pits, and that's the end of qualifying for him. With only 1:40 left, he will take far too long to jump in the pits, and he will dirty his tyres far too much to jump out on fresh tyres. Because now to the... Is he going? I think he's going for a second one. Okay, this game is brilliant, I swear. Nadim, though, is also going for a hot lap. I am on top of this. Beb invalidating his lap. That is it. That is the end of qualifying for Beb. Unless he manages to somehow regain 40% ERS, but it doesn't look like he is. I think he's trying to just push it for this session now. We've got Brizin going for an outlap. He'll make it to the line in time. We've got Gravy currently on an outlap. Oh, sorry, a hot lap. No, outlap. What am I on about? Can you message Mav and ask him to activate Rocket Boost I put in this car? Oh, well, the Rocket Boost won't do much because he can't set a lap now. If you're in the pits now and that is only for Mav, you cannot set a valid lap now. Sorry, you can't even cross the line in time to set a lap. To have a look now, we got Brizin coming out of the final chicane. He was on an incredible improvement coming out of the final chicane, and unfortunately loses the car and crashes out into the wall. Next across the line will be Cos. Does not improve his lap time. I think he was trying to avoid a collision there possibly at the end of the race, and avoids that. Nadim has invalidated his lap time, so that is him out of qualifying now on provisional pole. Who could potentially take the position from him? Next across the line we have, I believe that's Webby. Yep, that's Webby coming towards the line. It is not an improvement by Webby, unfortunately, and Zolt is far back, but he should be able to make it. Let's have a look. We've got Gravy crossing the line. He's invalidated, unfortunately. Briston, that was such an unfortunate ending there for you, mate. What happened? Rico crossing the line. Rico with a massive improvement takes third place from Beb now. He's up into the second row of the races. Zoltz then takes third place from Rico. Now Zoltz and Rico up onto the second row, and Beb and Brizin demoted down to the third row. Zoltz just beating Rico by 3/100ths of a second. Let's have a look further back of the grid. We got, I believe, Flynn. He's currently on a hot lap. Let's see what he can do. And oh, wrong number. There's Webby. Show me Webby. There he is. He's got very little ERS coming down this main straight. Is he on a hot lap? I don't know. We'll have to see. Let's see what Flynn can do, though. He's come through the final chicane really well. Now coming toward the line. It's a 9/1000ths slower lap. Unfortunately, does not improve. Webby across the line can't improve as well. He's gone spinning, and there goes a bit of debris there. And the two Ferraris are just kind of chilling there at the end of the hairpin. Well, that was a spectacular finish. Let's see what's happened to Webby's car. There it is. Well done, Webby. You removed the tyre. I am so proud of you. What are the two Ferraris doing? Are the two Ferraris trying to go side by side to finish the end of qualifying, or are they both? No, they're both diving in the pits. Okay. Hopefully Nadim can retire. If Nadim retires, then we will be done swiftly with qualifying. Otherwise, we'll have to sit here and wait for the mechanics to take Cos into the pits before then taking Nadim into the pits. Actually, if you give me a moment, I will ask. I will not ask Nadim because he's now going in the pits. Never mind. We'll just sit here and wait. So, the weather. Quite hot. Huh. The Latifi-Williams curse. No, the Latifi-Williams curse is you take the wrong turning at Suzuka and say that you're blind. Was it France? Maybe it was France. I don't remember. Francais. And my game is still just loading. Wonderful. Welcome to Loading Simulator. Sponsored by EA. Not sponsored by EA. Affiliated with Rogue Energy, though. Use code PHX at checkout for 10% off your order. Cheeky plug. In it, bruv. In it, bruv. Now we get to enjoy the waiting game to see what our drivers can do. I have to say, the waiting game is certainly a lot of fun, though I do not recommend it. Because it gets quite boring quite quickly. And we have T-posing engineers again. 7 years later, we'll be up and running. And then 9 years later, McLaren will have found all the nuts and bolts for their car. Come on, game. It's 4:30. We got just a little over 2.5 hours before the actual Canadian Grand Prix in the evening. I am looking forward to that race. You must have seen, many of you must have seen the qualifying by now, but I mean, Hulkenberg up into P2, and unfortunately, then given so many penalties. Actually, I can't keep track of all the penalties. But here we go now for the formation lap, and you would have seen there, every driver has opted for the hard compound tyres as Nadim goes off the side of the road there for a minute. Decided to cut some grass. Oh, turn 1 is definitely going to cause a red flag. I mean, Hamilton and Alonso side by side. What could possibly go wrong with that? Oh, sorry, no, they're not side by side anymore. It's Mercedes side by side, second row. Alonso's on the front row again from last season, or last year. I just want to see Alonso lead the race again. Honestly, that was great. But yeah, strategies. Apparently Pastuzo has mediums. Now Pastuzo's on hards. Everyone's on hards. Oh, wonderful. Game glitch. So everyone but Pastuzo, according to Cthulhu, is on the hard compound tires. We'll have to see when the race starts. Pastuzo is currently ghosted. Hopefully he can reconnect to the lobby if that's the case. Or perhaps he's in the pause menu. But, pardon me, no driver opting for the 2-stop, nor opting for a medium start. So we will have to see what can they do. Who will be able to pull off a better start. So far, I think AlphaTauri, Zolt, he's gone for a slightly tilted move there. Webby with his classic donuts. Thank you very much, my friend. Please get to your pit box. I think Zoltz is the only person... Okay, Webby. Okay, you've had to get to the grid. You can't hear me, but get to the grid. I think Zolt's the only driver to has angled his car a bit. No, the Alpine at the back. Pastuzo, there we go. Pastuzo is on the mediums, and Pastuzo has angled his car. 5 red lights, and I'm dying already, and away we go. Very slow start from everyone, but Koz has a better start off the line from Nadim. Nadim with the inside line, but unfortunately Koz still keeps it ahead. Zolt and Rico fighting side by side. Zolt losing out the position. Brizzard as well fighting side by side with Beb. Beb losing position there. Gravy has managed to get through relatively safe. Beb having to take the Vettel line, racing line across the grass. We all know what happened all those many years ago. Flynn getting ahead of Maverick after a very unfortunate start for Maverick. He gets away, but does not manage to make one position. So far, though, Koz has managed to run away with the lead. He's already 7/10 up, 8/10 up now to his teammate behind. Rico slowly closing in on Aneem, though. So far, a relatively clean start. Pastuzo, unfortunately, though, 9.5 seconds back. I think possibly had a bit of an issue trying to retake control of his car or something like that. I mean, we all know the AI in this game is absolutely god-awful. Further up, we've got Beb almost pushing that AlphaTauri ahead. And no DRS needed for the McLaren driver. He streams back, flies past the AlphaTauri driver and takes 7th place. Cos Silvio with the fast slapper, 1:18.5. As there, it updates again with Beb going ahead. Thank you, game. Apparently the game can suggest that you can do a 2-stop going from hards to mediums and mediums. No one will do that realistically. Let's be honest, these guys are great. As Nadim gets a 3-second time penalty for track limits. It's tier 2 all over again. That will be a huge loss at the end of his race. As he sets a purple first sector, he will have to make sure he has a 3-second gap very far behind him. He's managing to stay, though, within that 1 second. Rico now falling out of the 1 second to the Ferrari duo ahead. Now, at the end of this lap, when Koz and Nadim, whoever comes out in front of this little battle between the two of them, DRS will be enabled. There goes Nadim. He's going to the outside. They can't go too wide into the chicane. They don't, but they're very close to one another now. Across the line. That will be the end of the second lap. DRS will be enabled with Rico, the fastest lap, at 1:14.0. Rapidly changing down. There goes Beb at 1:14.0. 3/100ths of a second improvement. Well, now, there it is. DRS is now enabled. I realize I'm missing a few settings. I apologize. Rico now with a 3-second time penalty for track limits in 3rd place. DRS is enabled. The drag reduction system will open up the rear wing, reducing the drag of the straights and encouraging more overtaking by the drivers or close fighting between them. You have to be within a second of the driver ahead in order to have that rear wing open. So now, as we go towards the final corner, sorry, not the final corner, but the hairpin on this track in the 2nd sector, start of the 3rd sector, we have a 5-car fight all within 1 second of each other in the top 5 for 1st place. Then we have Beb, then we have Gravy fighting with Webby for 7th place. Flynn in a fight of his own. It's Flynn! What's happened? Webby's had a bit of a spin coming out the chicane. Just as I was going through the order of who is fighting who, Webby winning tier 2 is now down to 10th place at the start of the 3rd lap. What can Webby do from this unfortunate position? But he can't. We've seen him come back time and time again, so it'll be interesting to see what he does. And he gets a 3-second time penalty, a flawless race, last race in tier 2 with no penalties whatsoever. Now in 4 laps, he's already received his first track limits penalty. But still, the top 5 are all fighting very close back to back to one another. Koz still pulling away from Nadim behind now, 5.5 tenths, nearly 5 tenths, closing that gap down quickly. Nadim is. He's catching, he's got DRS. Is he going to try and make a move here? He isn't. But they are going to be constantly fighting, and hopefully they do not lose too much time to the drivers behind us. Nadim now goes ahead of the pair of them. Nadim now into the lead of the race. Maybe this is team orders. Maybe they will work together to fend off Rico and Brizzin behind. As we have another driver falling down the order. I believe that is Zolt. Zolt has fallen down the order after an unfortunate spin. He was in that top 5 fight. Now it's only 4 between Brizen, Rico, Koz, and Nadim. As there goes Koz with DRS into the final chicane. Takes the lead of the race again. Nadim, for not even a whole lap, could not lead the race as Koz fights back. And he's got DRS now coming down the main straight, leading the race yet again. Just 1 second splitting the top 3. Brizen just outside of that fight, but still within a second to Rico ahead of him, so he will continue to get DRS for the duration of this fight so far. Very close fighting, but is now a game of attrition. They are all on the same number of tires. They all have a DRS train ahead of them. Maverick is the only driver, as Pastuzo goes in pits and gets a speeding and pit lane penalty, unfortunately. Maverick is the only driver to be in a single car fight for position, currently fighting TFM Flynn in 7th place. Whilst there's a 4-car battle for the lead of the race, as Brizen now falls just outside of that 1 second. But I believe he will still get that DRS advantage as Nadim, now gets another 3-second time penalty. It is tier 2 all over again, and we're not even a tenth through a third of the way through this race, and he's already got himself 6 seconds, of time penalties. So I have to see what kind of team player is he going to be, and how is he going to help them out. We do have our first lap in car. Unfortunately, Pastuzo has not had a great start to this race, and there goes Koz and Nadim going through him. And next to go is Rico and Brizen. Koz taking a very wide line into that hairpin. Nadim coming back now. He will have DRS. They are very close. 1/10 apart, going too wide now. Nadim with the DRS will take the position from Koz and now leads the race. And now Brizen is outside of that 1 second gap. It is a 3-way fight for the lead of the race. It is down to Rico now to try and fight the Ferraris ahead. Maybe Pastuzo can certainly come back from this. I mean, if he manages to somehow outpace everyone on those hards and make them last, let's say, I don't know, 28 laps and pit for the softs, it'd be a miraculous recovery, and it'd be insane if he pulled it off. I don't think anyone's actually pulled it off, so he'd be the first of the league to try and do that. As Webby now is clawing his way back up. He did qualify in 8th place. He was up into 7th place, fighting with his Gravy, but unfortunately a spin caused him to lose positions and drop down to 9th place. Now fighting with Maverick for a position with Flynn. One of the 2 battles we have left on the grid. A fight for 7th place and a fight for 1st. As Nadim pulls a 2nd out of Koz. Nadim with the fastest lap, a 1:13.5. Nadim with 35% ERS, Koz with 24, Rico at 64. They are absolutely draining their ERS to keep ahead. Brizen is struggling. He's at 14%, and he is absolutely not having it. Bev is slowly starting to catch up as we have a fight at the back there. I am pressing all the wrong buttons, but Maverick now fighting with Flynn still, and Webby just 3/10 behind. Maybe, yeah, maybe Koz might be able to lose Rico alone. So Nadim is now given the fresh air to try and just build a gap or pull Koz along. Rico just is on the cusp of losing that DRS. He manages to cross that line still. So he will have another lap of DRS, but he is slowly losing it and losing it every lap that they are going around. Now onto the 8th lap. And here comes Maverick, here comes Webby, both with DRS. Webby is much closer than to Mav. He's got so much more ERS. Webby could go for the move. He's 3/10 back, however. That is going to be a lunge and a half and into the chicane. He is not going to be able to make the move just yet, and there it is. I said it before, and I will say it again, sorry. Rico now, as Kevin rightly said, Cos has done it beautifully and has pulled a gap away from Rico out of that 1 second gap, and now the two Ferraris lead the race in a DRS train amongst themselves, whilst Rico is now 1.3 seconds back from the two of them. Maverick and Webby still fighting one another for the position and fighting Flynn just ahead of him. Flynn coping very well so far with two DRS drivers behind, or two very fast drivers with DRS behind. Pardon me, as we have a Brizzen. Brizzen's gone slowly coming out of that exit. I think Brizzen might have had a very poor exit, unfortunately, and has then lost the position to Beb. So now Beb has 5 seconds to try and catch the drivers ahead. No, Brizzen's had an incident. I think, Brizzen's had an incident. So now what is he going to go for? If he's going to pit, is he going to go for the mediums and try and pull the mediums for the rest of the session? He's changing his front wing. It doesn't look like he's got damage to his front wing, but I guess he does. He's gone for the mediums. So that is his mandatory stop over. But can he make those mediums last 25 laps? That is the question now. And that'll be very interesting to see. And as I say that, we've also got a fight between Maverick and Flynn. Flynn and Maverick fighting for 6th place. Maverick going side by side and managing to take the position from Flynn. And now there is a 4-car battle for 6th place as Zolt and Webby are in the fight with Flynn for 6th place. Zolt being brought in quite beautifully by his teammate and by the fight ahead of him. We'll have to see now how will they capitalize on the battle ahead. Yellow flag. We have Webby. Webby has spun round coming through that final chicane in the 2nd sector, and unfortunately has lost out on a position to his teammate. Though it does not appear he's got any damage. Hopefully it's just a matter of he needs to cool those tires down as Rico gets another 3-second time penalty for track limits. There it is. We've got Nadim leading the race with 6 seconds of time penalties, half a second back. His teammate Cos Sylvie currently half a second back. Rico in 3rd place with 6-second time penalty and a 6.5 second gap to the drivers ahead of him, with pressure from Beb behind just half a second back. That is the top 4 so far as Webby is going into the pits. He's not grabbing himself a fresh wing, but he is getting himself some fresh tyres as Zolt's get a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Webby now with the mediums. He's got to go 24 laps with them before they completely drop off a cliff. So what will he do? We'll have to see. Webby now around 16.5 seconds behind the rest of the grid, or behind Brizzen, sorry. 18 seconds now as it starts to update. But I trust that he will be back in this fight. Further ahead, we've got a fight between Beb and Rico. Rico, unfortunately, losing out on the DRS there, and that is what lost him the position in 3rd place. Beb now got 7 seconds to the drivers ahead of him. He's only got 24% ERS, whilst my game now freezes trying to switch to Rico. Rico with 56% ERS. Rico with a lot of ERS. Hopefully will just maintain his gap to the drivers ahead of him. My timing screens are all bugged out, so please bear with me as they slowly start to update. Because there's no way Beb has got a negative interval to Cos ahead of him when, well, exactly that. Cos is ahead of him. Here comes Rico, though. Rico is not backing out of this fight so early. He's still got a lot of ERS. He's got a massive ERS advantage to the driver ahead of him. He's got DRS as well. Webby is in the pits again. Webby's got front wing damage. This is a race to forget for Webby, and Rico is now 1/2 back from Beb ahead of him. He's going to have DRS again. He's got plenty of VRS, but I think he might be playing the strategic game to let them drive ahead. Let's see what I forgot the names. What Webby can do, not Webby, Rico. Why my team? There we go. My team sheets. Team sheets, but. I promise I am not struggling for words. I'm just struggling, well, for words. We are going to get joined by the one and only. I can't find the commentator's booth. There it is. Welcome, Webby. Mid-race interview. How's that race going?
I'm loving it at the moment. For some odd reason, this feels completely different than T2. Everyone's complaining about they've got no grip on the hard tyres, so...
I mean, it is still very cloudy, so I expect then, because of how the lack of heat, you guys are struggling to warm it up. As Rico, unfortunately, goes off of the track, trying to fight back to Beb.
Yeah, but I think everyone's struggling for grips, especially on the hards. Track feels really cold and slippy. As you probably saw, I pitted. Didn't change my wing, even though it was completely smashed up. So then I had to re-pit, because it was impossible to drive with that.
Wonderful. This game
so,
so amazing.
So I'll come and say hi and see how you're doing.
There goes Cos into the lead of the race, into the first corner.
Fighting each other.
They are fighting each other, but they have an 8-second gap to the driver behind, with Beb in third place. And the Deem as well with 6 seconds of penalty, so tier 2 all over again. I agree, Kevin. Perhaps it's not team orders. Perhaps it's driver orders choosing between themselves to swap around, as Rico now receives another 3-second time penalty.
All I can say is that there isn't a team orders between them. They are fighting.
Oh, lovely.
Nadeem does not want to give up that win.
He's got 6 second time penalty, so that's gonna be a tough win for him. Currently the one and only, and I say one and only interesting battle. Here comes Zoltz down the inside on Flynn. He's got the DRS advantage now into the chicane. He gets the move done. That was incredible. Incredible drive by the Alpha? Yeah, AlphaTauri team principal. What am I on about?
Yeah, I apologise to Zoltz. I am not driving well at all. Probably a little bit tired.
You'll still score points though. You're in 10th place.
Hopefully.
No pressure.
It's just no traction.
I believe actually Pastuzo is not in the lobby. He is ghosted. So if he does not join back, he will be disqualified for AI driving, which will secure you a 10th place on the grid.
He keeps disconnecting and rejoining.
Unfortunate.
Every time I passed him, anyway.
Flynn now outside of that 1 second results. Top 8 drivers still yet to pit. Pastuzo, Webby, and Brizen all have pitted. Pastuzo on 9-lap old hards, Webby on 2-lap old mediums, and Brizen with 5-lap old mediums as well.
It's going to be a monumental medium stint from me. I've got to go to the end.
In Webby we trust.
How is the commentating though? How has the race looked from the outside point of view so far?
It's a lot of fun so far. I mean, the start of it was great. It was very clean by everyone. And then now it's died down a bit. The only fights we've got are the 2 Ferraris in the lead and Rico fighting Beb for 3rd place. Other than that, it's just a matter of who can last the longest with the fewest penalties. Oh, never mind. Nadeem's now dropped outside of 1 second.
He's nervous about his T2 loss to me. You can see me coming up behind him, trying to unlap myself.
Oh yeah, there you are.
Hello.
Now Nadeem was just inside a second. He manages to get DRS on that straight, and there is a Webby in the wall with no front wing. enjoying the race.
Oh, mate. I've had enough this game. Whilst
You could
Rico
probably try and
spins...
steal the fastest lap.
Yes, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, Rico. I think Rico's just had an unfortunate spin there. As Webby gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Well done, Webby.
And it's put me on to use mediums. Oh my
Brisen
god.
and Flynn going too wide. Brisen with the DRS advantage now takes 8th place. And Webby now retires from this race. Very unfortunate to see, but it has been an unfortunate race for you, hasn't it?
Just can't wait to get
Rico
off this
now in the
game.
pits, getting himself a new front wing. He's jumped himself onto those mediums now. He is the first of the hard compound tire runners to jump onto those mediums, other than Brisen. Oh, there's your car. Oh, and your car's gone.
Right, I guess I'm co-commentating. Woo!
Woo, yeah! As Rico has a bit of a spin there coming out of the corner. Beautiful drift by him. Here comes Nadim again, though. He's managed to cut his way back into the DRS zone.
Gravy's putting some time onto Beb as well. He's catching him. It looks like Beb is out of ERS.
He is, and Gravy's up down to 40%.
So he's managing it really well.
But who will be the first drivers to pull the trigger and to pit first?
Well, Maverick with the biggest position gain at the moment.
Oh, I'm sorry, folks. There goes a 2-2 battle between Brisen and Zoltz. Alpha Tauri and Williams going too wide into the third corner there. Brisen with the huge tire advantage managed to make the move and now up into 6th place. Just 1 second behind Maverick, and he's got that advantage. Can he make those tires work and get them into that fight? I mean, he's already within a second as I say that, and he's got DRS. So what can Brisen do now? Having pitted on lap 10, those mediums will be estimated around 25 laps old when he finishes the race, which if he manages to pull off, that is one in hell of an impressive drive. But realistically and unfortunately, I believe this will be a 2-stop race for Brisen, possibly finishing the race on the soft compound tyres.
Wow, no one, only Rico and Pastuzo with good ERS levels. Everyone else draining. I mean, under 10, under 10, under 10. 40 is the best, which is Gravy, and Rico at 184. So I must say, it is very hard to get back the ERS.
Yeah. I thought Brisen was about to go for a move there in the turn 1, but he's not close enough. Didn't quite want to make the risky move that there was.
Is he going to get traction out his corner? No.
Rico with a fast lap. A 1:12.451. Brisen almost pushing that McLaren ahead. What can Brisen do? He's going to have DRS again. Is he going to try and make a move here?
Rico with a 360 for the stream.
I didn't even see that. I'm too busy watching a fight between Brisen and between Maverick.
Rico's had a tough season so far. Well, it's just I don't think a tough season. That's a bit harsh for me. I apologise.
Brisen holding back. He's going to have DRS. He's now 2/10 behind. He's using his ERS. Maverick with only 14%. He's got nothing to defend with. And here comes Brisen on the left-hand side. A very smooth pass by the Williams driver now into the chicane. He takes 5th place from the McLaren team principal. Those medium compound tyres are absolutely working beautifully for him.
I want to retract my statement for saying he's had a tough season, and he's just spun into the wall. Oh, he's having a tough race today. He is currently the defending champion and top of our Tier 1 standings. Only 20 points ahead of Gravy. But if he does somehow fall out of the points today and Koss wins with fastest lap, he will overtake Rico. I think he's just got to make sure he
There
scores
goes
points
Nadeem into
today.
the pits. He's done with those hard compound tyres. He's
Oh
pitting
wow.
this lap. For those mediums, he's got those 6 seconds of time penalties as well to serve at the end of the race. So hopefully he can make the strategy work and pull out a
He's going
gap.
for an
There goes
undercut.
Beb as
The
well.
undercut's very strong here.
Gravy. Who else is going to jump into the pits? I don't think Maverick... Oh, no, Maverick. McLaren could definitely double stack, but he's currently fighting Zoltz. Going down that back straight.
Yeah, he's
Maverick's
going
going for the stop.
He's done well there. He's going for the
Oh,
undercut whilst pushing Zoltz on a really bad line, so that'll sacrifice time to Zoltz.
very, very close stop from Gravy as well, has managed to stop. So half the grid basically has now stopped. All that's left, we have Flynn, Zolt, and Koz still on those hard compound tyres from the start of the race. We'll have to see now, what will they do? Are they going to pit this lap? Are they going to keep going? Do they think they still have
Rico,
pace
DNF,
in those tyres
main
as now
straight,
Rico
Wall of
DNFs?
champions.
Well,
I mean,
he is a champion, so...
He is the champion, tier 1 defending champion, but if Koss does get this with fastest lap, who's got fastest lap at the moment? Nadeem?
I believe, actually, no, I think it was
Fastest
Rico.
lap. Oh, it's Rico.
Yeah.
He has 3 points for grabs there. It's not everyone's favourite track.
Now Koz into the pits. He's got himself the medium compound tyres. He'll come out, I believe, just behind his teammate. As Nadeem gets another 3-second time penalty. That's 9 seconds.
What is he doing?
And there comes Nadeem taking the lead of this race momentarily. No, here comes Sylvie. Koz maintains the lead of the race. Nadeem, though, with that 9 seconds of penalties. Zolt now in the pits, getting rid of those tyres, and same as Flint. So no driver is risking the limit of what those tyres can do and are all pitting around the same time. Brizzen pitting 12 laps ago into 3rd place. He has still got 13 laps to go on those mediums. How is he going to pull this off? I do not know.
I mean, it's possible.
It's definitely possible, but
I've done 22 laps. I've done 22 laps on mediums in practice, and I was 65%, 65%. So, you know, another 10 laps. I mean, he is pushing. Probably the last couple of laps will be in puncture territory. We have to see.
Here comes Nadeem. He's got DRS. He used some ERS to help get his exit out of the corner, and now into the braking zone, into the final chicane to start the 23rd lap. Nadeem takes the lead of the race yet again. Maverick now with a 3-second time penalty, up to 6 seconds. Pastuzo up to 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. Zolt for 3 seconds on track limits. And Nadeem on 9 seconds for track limits 3 times.
Well, he's only put himself in the... Well, I guess new mediums, he will run away with it. But he is kind of a bit vulnerable if he makes a big mistake to Beb. And potentially Gravy. If he does make a big mistake. Because he does look a little bit wobbly at times. And who's got the better ERS? I mean, Cos is just literally staying with him and just going to go, you know what, mate, if you can try and get 9 seconds ahead of me, fair play. But those two are pushing each other to the limit.
Other fights on the grid. We've got Maverick. We got team principals fighting for position. McLaren and AlphaTauri fighting for 6th place. And then we got Beb and Brizzen fighting for 3rd place. And then, of course, we've got the lead of the race under pressure between teammates.
Little insider information of the chat me and Flynn just had. We might be swapping seats for next season.
Interesting.
So Flynn will go to T2. He said he'll feel more comfortable there.
driver.
And I'm going to make my tier 1 appearance as a full-time seater for the new season. For the new game, because sod this game.
To be fair, understandable. Have a nice day.
But Maverick keeping inside that DRS. Oh, is he? No, he's not.
He's gone. He's outside.
Flashing. Oh, wait. They're pretty much on the same ERS anyway. I think Maverick's got to play the smart game here and just hopefully stay with him with raw pace, and hopefully that he just makes a mistake. Lots of drivers making mistakes in tier 2. it does, don't push your limits. Just keep it nice and clean. You can get a lot of places, even though you're
Here
slower.
comes Cos into the final chicane.
What's a move?
Very close between the two of them. Cos now into the lead of the race. As Brizin now retires from the race.
Oh no!
Brizin coming
And
out
Cos
to
with
the
11.5.
final, out to the hairpin. Sorry, not the final corner, and is into the wall. Brizin now out of this race. That is not what we wanted to see at all. Gravy now up into 4th place, Zolt into 5th, Maverick now into 6th place, Flynn and Pastuzo as well up into 7th and 8th respectively.
It was getting tough on used tyres there. Even on new tyres, it's still a bit slidey. It's all about rhythm with this track. But Gravy having a very kind of just lonely race really. He hasn't really been around anyone. He's losing time to Beb. Beb's driving incredibly. Just hopefully trying to stay inside those 9 seconds of Nadim. But I think Cos and Nadim are just going to keep DRSing past each other, pulling him away from Beb. Oh, Nadim back in front of Cos. But again, Nadim's got no ERS. Cos has got no ERS. These two really want the fight of P1, regardless of penalties. They just want who wants to finish him first.
I mean, it's fair enough. Have a bit of fun whilst you're in the lead. Just don't have too much fun.
Their qualifying pace was ridiculous as well.
Nadim with another 3 seconds. That's 12 seconds. And he's got 14.5 seconds to Beb behind. Beb needs to absolutely push it in the last 9 laps of this race if he wants to get himself up onto the second step of the podium.
He's just got to keep it clean. Nadim is pushing it. I mean, Ollie's trying to keep him from pushing his limits, but he is pushing at every element just to make sure he finishes in front of Cos. No matter what. He's got a little bit more ERS than him. But
Pastuzo now passing Brizin up into 8th place.
Pastuzo just being quiet at the back of the grid.
And
actually, I think he
kisses the wall of the champions.
He's qualified.
Wall of champions.
Wall of the champions.
Yes, wall of the champions. Nadim's not even a champion. How dare he hit that?
Well, at this rate, it looks like I'm looking at the standings now. Ferrari will take P1 in constructors. It will then look like Alfa Romeo Vamos will take P2. Aston Martin dropping to P3. And McLaren jumping up to P4, I believe.
Interesting.
Overtaking a lot.
Certainly quieted down the race. Maverick is the only other driver very close to fighting another one. 1.5 seconds behind now, and he is still continuing to drop back. Zolt with 30% ERS, and Maverick with only 14.
Quite impressed how many people don't have penalties.
You've jinxed
looking very good.
Oh, you were one of the first to get penalties. I was very disappointed.
Yeah, I understeered twice, badly.
Oh, lovely.
On the first lap, and got a penalty. And yeah, there's just no grip. A lot of people were like, I think a lot of people have got penalty warnings, but yeah, we just have a look at leader intervals. Flynn needs to. He's only 1.3 seconds back on the timing tables, really, if taking consideration of Maverick's 6 seconds. And if he's got 6 seconds, there's a possibility of him getting more. So Flynn could, if he tightens up his race here.
Well, you better join the call. Get him, engineer him his way to victory.
Oh, vamos! I'm on it. Right, enjoy.
There goes Webb. He's going to go engineer his Tier 1 driver, as you heard, soon to replace next season and bump himself up into Tier 1. Now is going to help Flynn try and cut that gap down from 7.3 seconds to 6 seconds. If he cuts that time down, Flynn will find himself promoted up a position into 6th place. And that'll be a 4th and 6th place finish for Alfa Romeo. And that'll be an incredible finish for an incredible amount of points for them in this race. And in the standings in general. Apologies if you hear a fan on stream as well. I do have a fan currently pointed towards my face because it is incredibly humid in my room. And I don't think I opened my windows. Here comes Cos now, 0.2 seconds behind. This fight is going to keep on going. We've got 6 laps left of the race, and the team of 12 seconds of penalties. Beb only has to close the gap down by 3 seconds if he can. And he can take 2nd place. But for the time being, it looks like it will be 3rd place for Beb. Very quiet race now. Only 3 drivers with penalties. Rico, I believe, did have penalties before he DNF'd, and Webby certainly did. But now with them DNF'd, only 3 drivers remain with penalties. Flynn now down to 7.3 seconds behind Maverick. Maverick at 14% ERS. Flynn as well at 16% ERS. They are matching ERS, and they are pushing it. Unfortunately, Maverick will not gain a position on Zolt. Zolt only has a 3-second time penalty. Maverick needs to improve his times by a lot more and get ahead if he wants to try and fight for that position. Now we have only 4 laps remaining. Maverick is still trying to claw back time to Zolt ahead of him. He may not be able to win the position on track. After penalties, but he certainly can win the position on track, and that is what he must be thinking about. That or just trying to maintain the gap, as the gap now drops to 1.1 seconds between Maverick and Flynn. Whilst it does say 7.1, you have to account for the fact that Maverick will serve the 6 seconds at the end of this race. And by serving those 6 seconds, that gap will go from 7 seconds to 1 second. So Flynn only has 1.152 at the point of reading to try and close that gap down and be able to manage to take that position from Maverick before the end of this race. Maverick now coming very close to 1 second. He was just a few 100ths off of getting that DRS result ahead of him, but unfortunately has lost out even further. Beb now 16.8 seconds behind Cos, so 17.5 seconds behind Nadeem. So unfortunately, has lost contention for that second place finish. That is assuming, of course, Nadim does not get any more penalties, so we'll have to see what happens. Here comes Maverick now. He's closing in that gap very quickly. He's now within a second of Zoltz ahead of him. Team Principal versus Team Principal. Who will come out on top? Will Maverick be able to make the position? DRS line now is rear wing wide open. Unfortunately, not quite close enough to capitalize on having that rear wing, but certainly we're able to help manage that gap and keep him close. As Maverick receives a 3-second time penalty, that will help secure Flynn gain an extra position. Flynn now just has to maintain that 1.5 second advantage he has over Mav ahead of him in the next 2 laps. Now as the Ferraris cross the line to start their 34th lap of this race. Flynn has just got to keep his car together. He's got 1.5 laps remaining. One lap and 1 sector remaining to maintain a 1.3 second gap to Maverick ahead of him. If that time next to Flynn's name increases to any higher than 9 seconds, he will have lost a position to Maverick ahead of him, and now Maverick is going to do everything he can to help increase that gap behind. As Zoltz now receives a 6-second time penalty. Very close fight. Flynn still has 1 more lap to go after this one. He's got just under a second of breathing room. Maverick and DRS is the worst news for him to ever hear right now in this race, when he's right on the cusp of taking more points for the team. And now let's jump on with the 2 Ferraris at the top of the sheet. As we have a yellow flag for Gravy. We have a yellow flag for Gravy. He has had a bit of a spin. Fortunately, though, he has no penalty, so he'll be able to still walk away with the 4th place. But he will have to finish this lap now with absolutely no front wing and hope that Zoltz behind does not catch up. But now going into the final chicane, there goes Nadim, and there goes Koz. It is going to be a Ferrari 1-2 across the line. My controller has disconnected, and they cross the line. Koz Sylvie wins the race, the Canadian Grand Prix. Nadim in 2nd place, very close between them two. Unfortunately for Nadim, he had the 12 seconds of penalties, which did not aid in his efforts to try and win this race. Here comes Beb now through the past the World Champions and to the line, rightly so, swerving across the line. A very well fought 3rd place after qualifying in 5th place for him. Gravy next across the line. He's just recently had the spin. You can see he's got no front wing, but he manages to still bring it on home and now finish the race in 4th place. Good points for the team. Now, here comes Zoltz. Here comes Maverick. Maverick with 9 seconds of penalty. And Flynn now, final driver to cross the line. Within 9 seconds of Maverick will take 6th place. And that is a 4th place and a 6th place finish for Alfa Romeo. An incredible drive for Flynn and an incredible drive for Gravy. But more importantly, for the top of the timing sheets, Nadim and Koz absolutely soaring through the timing sheets in qualifying, and then in the race just They were constantly fighting, not refusing, to give each other the space that they needed to just race. They wanted a fight to the end, and they did, and that was incredible. Very clean race by everyone. Very unfortunate that we lost 3 drivers. We lost Webby, we lost Rico, we lost Brizen in this race, but still an incredible drive by them all, an incredible effort by them all. Now, hopefully, we can get some interviews. I hope you enjoyed listening to my PC give you the Windows notification sound, but that was a lot of fun. It was definitely getting very quiet towards the end of the race there, but an incredible drive nonetheless. So a huge congratulations to Cos Sylvie and to Mr. Nadim Legacy. Very, very huge congratulations. I am struggling for words now to the two of them for that race victory. Very proud of both of the Ferrari boys there. I do hope to have an interview with them. We'll have to see. But in the meantime, we do have Beb finishing in 3rd place. My game, thank you. I don't want to see this. Please just let me leave this. We will have an interview. We are going to be able to speak to the teams and the team principals. But our first interview, whilst we load out of this session, we are going to talk to Cos. We're going to drag Nadim in here as well. Cos and Nadim, welcome to Commentary Box. That was... Well, first of all, before we talk about the race, that qualifying was insane. The both of you, the only drivers to get into the 109s. How was qualifying for you two?
Nadim, do you want to start or?
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I mean, that was amazing. I had a lot of fun. Qualifying, I knew I could maybe get in front of Kos. Race-wise, I wasn't sure because I knew he was gonna be almost pitch perfect the whole race. I just pushed and it ended up being pole, which I was surprised, but I loved it, and we got a 1-2 there. So yeah, it was fun in qualifying, but the race was something else.
What was going through between you two? Because you guys were non-stop fighting. I would have imagined at least some sort of agreement who to let who through to take the lead. How come you guys continue to fight and risk it all?
Well, I mean, we decided, I mean, we weren't really fighting because obviously we knew I had penalties, so at the end of the day it wouldn't count. So we were just like pushing each other, matching each other's pace, being calm the whole race. Obviously, I was a little bit less calm than him, but I stick with him at the end there. I mean, I was in front, but the penalties killed me, so fair play to Kos, he did amazing still, even though he said he struggled, which I don't believe he did. Yeah, so very fun.
Well, that was brilliant. That is an incredible way to finish off the first half of the season. As a commentator, I thoroughly enjoyed that race. Thank you for the competitive racing between the two of you. And as the Ferrari team principal, I could not be more proud than my drivers today.
Also, we did the formation on the end there.
I saw that going side by side across the line. You know what? That's a great throwback to Michael Schumacher and Barrichello all those many years ago. You're probably too young to remember that, but I remember seeing
I
that.
remember. I definitely remember.
I've seen it. Don't worry.
I've seen the clips.
Good. Okay, that's good. Well, that was an incredible race. I mean, as I said, that was an incredible way to finish off the season. Nadim, I hope to see you back racing in Ferrari. We might need some more reserves from you.
Absolutely.
We'll have to see. We do have a week vacation now. This is the off-season break next week, so hopefully you guys will get enough time away from the PCs, be able to touch some grass, baby, Nadim. And then we will come back in 2 weeks' time for Austria. What do you guys think about Austria?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think Austria is a decent track. I mean, it's not particularly my favorite, really. This calendar doesn't really have many races, many tracks I like, but you know, it's an okay track. It's not the greatest track ever. It's just a lot of straights, a lot of fast turns. You just have to maximize it every lap and try to get whoever behind you is off your DRS, and then you can just shoot away. And if the person behind you has DRS, it's impossible for you to shake them off. So it's kind of tricky. It's more about managing the battery than anything else. But you know, we'll see. We'll wait till the day comes for that race.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for joining in for the commentate words. I can't speak them. Thank you for joining the commentary box. Thank you for an incredibly interesting and very exciting race between the two of you. Cos, congratulations with the fastest lap and the race win. I do believe this puts you at the top of the standings. We'll have to see on Monday when we update them. I will see you guys in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you.
All right. Bye bye. Thank you.
Now let's get our third place. We're going to get Beb in here. We are going to get their race engineer, Cthulhu, and we are going to get the team principal for McLaren, Maverick, in here as well. Beb, first of all, congratulations on that podium. You qualified 5th place and you managed to secure that podium. Well, very well fought. How was that race for you?
That was really hard. First of all, in my room, there is 31 degrees. Then this is really hard to play, but I play.
Oh, no.
And on the start of the race, I got bumped a little bit by Gravy, but he gave me back the position after the lap. Then that was okay, and after I just managed to don't spin with a really aggressive setup, and that was difficult sometimes, but I think I do a good race at all, and I do like 1 or 2 overtake, and I don't know if you see it, but it was cool.
Definitely seen a good handful of overtakes. And Maverick, how about you? How was that race? I mean, qualifying was very unfortunate for you, having invalidated lap after lap, but how was the race?
Yeah, I mean, I think qualifying, that's always my weak point. You know, I really struggled for pace there today, you know, but the race really came alive for me. Potentially should have been a P5 today. A little bit disappointed in myself with, you know, track limits costing us a couple of positions. But absolutely wonderful battle. I have to really shout out MZ Adult and Flynn. You know, the two of us had just an absolutely phenomenal battle there today. You know, I really, really enjoyed that. So, you know, I'll still take, you know, P7. It's good points for the team. Absolutely brilliant performance from Beb. You know, so McLaren, a double points finish today. I think we can be happy.
And Cthulhu, how about you? How was that race, having to engineer both your drivers there to fight for points and fight for a podium?
So I mean, it was definitely. I don't want to say it was a challenge. We've maximized what we could get. But going back to qualifying for Beb, I think it was just a unfortunate timing thing because I still have the times pulled up, and just the fact that Rico and I feel bad. I can't remember who else qualified in front of him. They were out there literally at the last minute, where Beb unfortunately was not.
Yeah.
So it was less than a tenth between 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So I think that was just a timing thing for that. So I saw no issues with Beb getting those positions back and ending up on the podium where he ended up. And then Mav did a fantastic job. Just, I know he got the penalties and it's unfortunate, but just maximizing what he could and getting back everything that he could to maximize all the points for the team that we could get today.
Well, that was one very interesting race. It was very close at the end there, Maverick. Of course, you got that additional 3-second time penalty, which unfortunately then promoted Flynn up into 6th place. But it was still, nonetheless, an incredible race and a lot of fun to watch. Of course, next week is our season break, sorry. So I will see you in 2 weeks' time. But in 2 weeks' time, we'll be racing around Austria. So what do you guys think of that track? Do you think it's a strong one for the team, or do you think that's going to be a challenge?
From my point of view, it's another one that is a little bit of a challenge for me. You know, it does have those nice sweeping corners, but turn 3, those low speed corners I find very difficult. So, you know, I expect for me it's going to be a bit of a struggle again for the bottom end of the table. You know, but hopefully we can support Beb again to be up there and challenge for podiums.
And for myself, I don't know. For now I never drive on Austrian in F1 22. Then I will try. I don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I certainly look forward to it. No pressure. Panos says that's a strong track for him, so I'm looking to see at least one orange car on the podium next in 2 weeks' time.
We hope
No
to bring it
pressure.
to
I
you.
hope to see another orange car on the podium in 2 weeks' time.
We hope to bring it to you.
And thank you for joining. Thank you for a very exciting race.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
And that will be it. Thank you everyone for joining in the stream. It has been a lot of fun doing this. Sorry for the unusual times this week. It is purely because the Canadian Grand Prix is in the evening, and that has had to throw our schedule a bit off this evening, or this afternoon, sorry. So, of course, we do have the Canadian Grand Prix. That starts in an hour and a half. Please, I hope you will enjoy the Grand Prix. If you've seen the qualifying, I mean, it was one hell of an interesting qualifying. Unfortunately, I may have fallen asleep during it. But for the top 4, I'm looking forward to see what happens. We've got Max Verstappen and Alonso on the front row, and then the 2 Mercedes on the second row. So it certainly will be quite an interesting start, and hopefully, it'll be a dry race. Who knows? But I certainly look forward to seeing that, and I hope you do too. Thank you everyone for joining, and I will see you guys in 2 weeks' time for Austria. It will be regular timings as well for Austria, because the actual Grand Prix for Austria is actually in the afternoon. So we'll be back to normal 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock for the rest of the season. Ciao!